mother how to give birth. You can see the little title there, or the main title is Teaching My Mother How to Give Birth by Warsan Shire, published by Mouthmark and supported by the Arts Council, England. The reason why I am reading to you Warsan Shire tonight is because Warsan Shire has recently released a new anthology called Bless the Daughter Raised by the Voices in Her Head. I believe that's what it's called. Warsan Shire, she recently popped into my Goodreads feed, making a comment, and that's how I came to know. And so I thought it was very fitting to read some of her poetry here to you tonight. Admittedly, I was introduced to Warsan a little late. I only came to know of her thank you to Beyonce and her project called Lemonade, released in 2016. But I instantly fell in love. I love her writing style, her voice, her perspective. She's really beautiful, and I've since come to know more of her work. I will say questions for the woman I was last night, trying to swim with the god, and 34 excuses for why we fail to love are the poems that come to my mind when I think of her. But all the works that I have read so far are very beautiful. And of course, especially Home, which is very moving. Sorry for my tummy. But yeah, her work called Home is very moving. I don't listen to it as much because it does make me cry. But yeah, a lot of her poetry ties into like generational trauma and the burdens of womanhood and being from an immigrant family, being from a broken family, broken relationships. She explores that, so a lot of lines I probably can't read to you because they aren't that relaxing, but I've tried to siphon out some bits that I think are nice sounding in the ASMR sense. As always, please try and find a copy of your own. Support these authors, they're really beautiful. I've left links in the bio for where you can find a copy of this one, or you can request your local library to get a copy, or links to her latest work, Bless the Daughter Raised by the Voices in Her Head. I think it's called. I should have researched. But yes, let's get into it. So, Mouthmark series. Literary pointillism on a funked out canvas. Mouthmark series number 10, printed and bound in the United Kingdom. Published by the Mouthmark series 2011. The pamphlet series of Flipped Eye Publishing. All rights reserved. First edition. Copyright Warsan Shire 2011. So above the title has a quote from Audre Lorde. Mother, loosen my tongue or adorn me with a lighter burden. Mouthmark poetry is a kind of literary pointillism applied on a jazz, blues, blood, sex, rock and rolled canvas, with sweat, tears and spittle as primary colors. If you don't get it, you're not listening. I have my mother's mouth and my father's eyes. On my face they are still together. What your mother told you after your father left. I did not beg him to stay, because I was begging God that he would not leave. Things we had lost in the summer. She turns to her sisters, and a laugh that is not hers stretches from her body like a moan. She is more beautiful than I can remember. In the car, my mother stares at me through the rearview mirror. The leather sticks to the back of my thighs. I open my legs like a well-oiled door, daring her to look at me and give me what I had not lost, a name. Grandfather's hands. Your grandfather's hands were brown. Your grandmother kissed each knuckle, circled an island into his palm, and told him which parts they would share, which parts they would leave alone. She wet a finger to draw where the ocean would be. On his wrist, kissed him there, named the ocean after herself. Your grandparents often found themselves in dark rooms, mapping out each other's bodies, claiming whole countries with their mouths. Bone. I can hear you in our spare room with her. What is she hungry for? What can you fill her up with? What can you do that you would not do for me? I count my ribs before I go to sleep. Birds. We giggled over the static, imagined his mother back home, parading these siren sheets through the town, waving at balconies, torso swollen with pride, her arms fleshy wings bound to her body, ignorant of flight. Beauty. It's 4 a.m. and she winks at me, bending over the sink. The kitchen. Half a papaya and a palmful of sesame oil. Lately, your husband's mind has been elsewhere. Honey dates, goat's milk. You want to quiet the bloating of salt, coconut and ghee butter. He kisses the back of your neck at the stove. Cayenne and roasted pine nuts. You offer him the hollow of your throat. Saffron and rosemary. You don't ask him her name. Vine leaves and olives. You let him lift you by the waist. Cinnamon and tamarind lay you down on the kitchen counter. Almonds soaked in rose water. Your husband is hungry. Sweet mangoes and sugared lemon. He had forgotten the way you taste. Sourdough and cumin. But she cannot make him eat like you. Fire. Later that night, she picked the polish off with her front teeth until the bed you shared for 7 years seemed speckled with glitter and blood. A young man greets you in the elevator. He smiles like he has pennies hidden in his cheeks. You were conceived on the night of our secret wedding, when he held me in his mouth like a promise, until his tongue grew tired and fell asleep. I lay awake to keep the memory alive, trying to swim with God. The instructor tells us that the longest a human being has held their breath underwater is 19 minutes and 21 seconds. At home in the bath, my hair swells to the surface like vines. I stay submerged until I can no longer stand it. Think of all the things I have allowed to slip through my fingers. Questions for Miriam. Were you ever lonely? Did you tell people that songs weren't the same as a warm body, a soft mouth? Did you know how to say no to young men who cried outside your hotel rooms? Did you listen to the songs they wrote, tongues wet with praise for you? What sweaty bars did you begin in? Did you see them holding bottles by the neck, hair on their arms rising as your notes hovered above their heads? Did you know of the girls who sang into their fists, mimicking your brilliance? Did they know that you were only human? Conversations about home at the deportation center. Well, I think home spat me out. The blackouts and curfews like tongue against loose tooth. I've been carrying the old anthem in my mouth for so long that there's no space for another song, another tongue, or another language. They ask me, how did you get here? Can't you see it on my body? The Libyan desert red with immigrant bodies, the Gulf of Aden bloated, the city of Rome with no jacket. I hope the journey meant more than miles, because all of my children are in the water. I thought the sea was safer than the land. Sometimes it feels like someone else is wearing my body. I know a few things to be true. I do not know where I am going. Where I have come from is disappearing. I am unwelcome, and my beauty is not beauty here. I am a sin of memory, and the absence of memory. I hear them say, go home. I hear them say, fucking immigrants, fucking refugees. Are they really this arrogant? All I can say is, I was once like you. The apathy, the pity, the ungrateful placement, and now my home is the mouth of a shark. Now my home is the barrel of a gun. I'll see you on the other side. Old Spice. Your grandfather is from another generation. Russian degrees in a schoolyard, Cuban national anthem, communism and religion. Only music makes him cry now. Your mother's father, the almost martyr, can load a gun underwater in under 4 seconds. My foreign wife is dying and does not want to be touched. Her body is a flooding home. We are afraid. We want to know what the water will take away from us, what the earth will claim as its own. I lick my lips, and she looks at the floor. Ugly. Your daughter is ugly. She knows loss intimately, carries whole cities in her belly. On her 15th birthday, you taught her how to tie her hair like rope and smoke it over burning frankincense. But God, doesn't she wear the world well? Tea with our grandmothers. Then your Habuba al-Sura, God keep her, with 3 lines on each cheek, a tally of surviving. The woman who cooled your tea, pouring it like the weight of deeds between bowl and cup until the steam would rise like a ghost. In love and in war, to my daughter I will say, when the men come, set yourself on fire.